And what about the nuclear reactor in Florida? It's broken, leaking, or something's happening.
I thought it was in Georgia.
Georgia's in Florida, dumbass.
This video is for people who learn foreign languages. I'm right here with you. English is not my native language. I also learned French and I'm currently learning Spanish. At the same time, I also teach English and French, and one of the most common things that my students ask me is how to expand your vocabulary and put it into good use. They say they can't remember new words and therefore use rather simple vocabulary. I've collected a number of tips to help you expand your vocabulary, learn new words, and use them in your foreign language. Before we begin, I would just like to say that you can live comfortably with any level of vocabulary. You can have an accent, you can have your favorite words that you would repeat over and over again, case in point.
Inauthentic, organically and authentically. Being able to be so authentically myself that allows me to live my life really authentically.
A lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people don't know that.
Nobody knew that healthcare could be so complicated.
People don't realize.
The main idea is you'll be fine, don't sweat it, but if you really want to upgrade your vocabulary, then follow these tips. Tip number 1, you don't need all the words. It is a common misconception that you need to translate, write down, and learn every new word that you encounter. If you were to do that, your language learning journey would take a million years because not all words are equally important. If you are A2 or B1 level, it is unlikely that you would need to learn bird anatomy or finance and trading. Instead, you would focus on the words used daily, at doctor's appointments, apartment search, car rental, and job interviews. You do not need to know all the words in the language to express yourself well. If you are planning to sit an exam like IELTS, that's a whole other thing. There, you do need to pay extra attention to extensive vocabulary and grammar structures. By the way, if you need further practice with your writing and speaking preparation for exams like IELTS, delf, and TEF, please follow the link below. This is my platform where you can submit your writing and speaking for evaluation and grading. So yes, when you're learning a foreign language to live comfortably in another country, to work for an international company, to start an online business, you can do what is called comprehensible input learning. This is when you're reading or listening in your target language for the majority of the time, but you don't necessarily know or learn all the words. You will start picking up some words naturally, and when you feel comfortable enough in your comprehension or understanding, you would move on to expressing yourself by using these words. And you know, sometimes you would just feel what the word means, but you cannot necessarily explain it, even in your native language. Like take the word fancy, for example. You would probably have a hard time explaining what it actually means, but you would have no problem using it in the correct situations. Like, oh, you look fancy today. Or that's a fancy house. Maybe this word doesn't have a translation in your native language, but it still makes sense. For instance, there's a word in English, sibling, that means brother or sister. This word cannot be translated into my native language, Russian. Instead, we just always say brother or sister. But it makes sense when you learn it in another language and you're wondering why you don't have it in yours. And it just opens up this whole new concept for you, where you have a word that fits like a missing piece of a puzzle into your dual language storage. Tip number 2, sources matter. So how do you know which words are right for you? How to pick the words that you need to learn? Let's say you're reading a book and you only understand 50 to 60% of the words. What you need to focus on is the words that are repeating over and over again. That's why fantasy and sci-fi novels are not recommended for the early stages of language learning. They are filled with 1,000 variations of names for a sword and made-up lingo that exists only in that particular universe. Instead, take memoirs, non-fiction, and modern novels, and look for words that repeat multiple times throughout the whole book. For example, The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls tells the story of a family growing up in poverty, and you see the words around the topic of money and poor upbringing appear over and over again. Odd jobs, pawn, hit the road, skedaddle, and gambling. We can also talk about consuming language through audio and video format. Let's say you're listening to a modern podcast about psychology and relationship with yourself. You will hear a lot of words and phrases like
Resonates with me.
Sense of agency of that mindset.
Value and worth. And
if you're watching a TV show, for example, Mad Men, you would hear
copywriter
accounts,
in advertising, national ad campaign.
In Better Call Saul, you have the legal lingo.
This is trademark infringement.
under fair use.
Fair use?
The witness has identified the defendant.
Some pro bono work.
In Sex and the City, you have girl talk words.
Make love to this. We're just choosing. I'm going down giving head. Eating out? It's emasculating.
All this means is that you need to choose the media you consume carefully, tailored to your interests and goals. The Big Bang Theory may sound cool in theory, but do you really need physics and comic books?
String theory posits that the fundamental particles we see in 3 dimensions are actually strings embedded in multidimensional spacetime.
Interesting.
The reason I keep talking about TV shows specifically and not feature films is again repetition. The same jokes and words will repeat from season to season, which will benefit their retention.
Smelly cat, smelly cat.
Slap bet.
Oh, slap bet. We used to do those when I was a kid.
What the hell's a slap bet?
By the way, this does not apply to English only. You can choose the language of the TV show on Netflix and Amazon Prime and switch between them easily.
Indique que ce n'est pas normal.
Ah, la voilà. Vite ton appareil.
Quoi?
The only problem with other languages there is that subtitles don't match the audio because they were translated separately from it.
Je te souhaite une merveilleuse soirée. Je te raconterai tout et en détail, je te le promets. Au revoir, grand-mère.
One more resource that can help you is the most common list. These are lists with the most commonly used words and phrases in your target language. You can easily find them online and download them, so here's another great source for you. Tip number 3, actually building your vocabulary. So what you do here is take the most common list plus all the other words from the sources that you have acquired. For example, you were watching a TV show and wrote down some words. You take all that and put them in a notebook. Yes, we're going the old-fashioned way. I would suggest 2 options. The first one, make 3 columns, put a word, then either pronunciation or your associations with it, then translation in your own language. Or number 2, put nouns here and list all the nouns below. Skip a few pages to make room for this category as it expands, then put verbs, adjectives, phrases, etc., always leaving a few pages in between. You can also put bookmarks here. So this will be your vocabulary book. You put everything in there. You might say, can I use a Google Doc? I'd say you can, but shouldn't. Various studies have demonstrated that handwriting activates a broader network of brain regions, contributing to deeper learning and enhanced memory retention. Do with that what you will. I'm just saying handwriting equals better learning. Tip number 4, how do you utilize these words? Well, you just need to start incorporating these words into your daily life. It could be anything from writing essays for your IELTS preparation to using them while speaking in your new country of residence to writing social media captions. The last one is actually the easiest thing to do. When you post an Instagram story, put text over it using one of the new words. Another important thing is not just using a single word, but putting it into context. This way you would avoid potential problems in the future when you don't know where to put the word in the sentence. So put it in phrases and sentences. If it's a verb, conjugate it into different tenses, like I paint every day, I'm painting now, I will paint tomorrow. These structures may sound clunky at first, but they just give you the basic idea of what to do with the word that you have. And again, to enhance retention, you can try putting these words into writing. You may say, I don't know what to write. Let's say you're interested in fashion and would like to learn new words in the English language associated with fashion. Here's what you can do. Look up an article online about fashion, like a recent fashion show or some news from the industry, let's say about a magazine editor stepping down or a designer taking over a fashion house. The easiest thing to do with it is to simply rewrite it. Without thinking too much about it, just rewrite and highlight new or important words and phrases. A more challenging but similar approach is to look up the same type of article in your native language and try translating it into English by looking up words in a dictionary. This will take a long time if it's a long or difficult article, so you would probably separate it into a couple of sessions. But it's much more rewarding in terms of language learning. At the end, when you translate it, you can upload a picture into ChatGPT and ask it to correct something if there is anything to correct. Option number 3. Look up videos on TikTok and Instagram with the relevant hashtags. See what words the people are using and also go to the comment section to pick up some words and phrases. After doing that for some time, start commenting yourself using the same words and phrases. Substack is another great source to find your community and engage in meaningful conversations. Same thing as before, find posts, articles, and discussions on a fashion topic and start commenting. Then, as you grow confidence, you can try posting yourself. And the last option here, if you are an introvert and need to use your vocabulary with real people speaking, actually using these words in your speech, you can actually hire these people. Go to services like italki and find a conversation-focused buddy. A lot of people there are native speakers and not professional teachers with degrees, so they'd be happy to give you the reins in terms of the topic and will correct your mistakes and give you feedback. And tip number 5 is actually retaining your words. Repetition is key in everything, and language learning is not an exception. The more you repeat the same thing over and over again, the higher the chances that you'll memorize it. So again, it could be anything from posting 1,000 comments on TikTok to writing down a word over and over again, like we did in primary school. And some more resources to help you here, apps with flashcards like the ones you see on the screen, or actual physical flashcards. That is all for today. Please ask any questions you have below. Good luck in your language learning journey, and I'll see you next time.